If you're the type of person that prays, then send a prayer out to the families of the 3 U.S. soldiers, or let's just say service members, because I don't know if they were Army, that were killed in CENTCOM area of operation during Operation Epic Fury. So, of course, the U.S., the United States, has already launched within the first 24 hours over 900 strikes on target in Operation Epic Fury. Standoff missiles, Tomahawks, direct. I mean, we're using F-35s, we're using Reaper drones, we're using a lot of different stuff. And Israel has already launched over 1,200 strikes on target within the first 24 hours. And it doesn't look like it's going to slow down. Well, I mentioned in yesterday's video that unfortunately the enemy gets a vote too, and it's been confirmed that we've lost at least 3 service members so far, and 5 severely wounded, and expected to hopefully make a full recovery and get back into the fight. But that is the thing about war, is that is why I mentioned that I really hope that we get more from the administration about why this was something that needed to happen right now. I know that with the War Powers Act, the president has a lot of power to handle what is perceived to be an immediate threat to the United States. Now, I think that the immediate threat to the United States also spreads to our assets overseas. We got so many bases overseas that it can be argued to say that an immediate threat to the United States could be a whole lot of different stuff. If, let's say, we had no bases overseas and the president was taking this action, some people will say, well, what is the imminent threat? What's the immediate threat? I think that in this case, he probably has a good argument, but that's going to be for the politicians to figure out. For me to talk about is why we need to continue to pay attention to this stuff, and don't let it fall on yesterday's headlines like Venezuela or like Mexico in taking out El Mincho, or anything where we seem to be doing kinetic activities all over the globe. Now, to be fair, in Mexico, we weren't directly involved kinetically, but we did give intelligence. But it's feeling like a GTA poster where just every month we're collecting another body. January, Maduro is locked up. February, Mincho, and I guess technically also February is, the supreme leader, but we can put him down for March. It's just a lot going on. But the biggest thing is that with the announcement of the taking out of the supreme leader, there are some things that have already occurred behind that we need to think about. Let me light this up while you hit the subscribe button. We seem to be in this tough position where a lot of folks have different opinions about what should and should not happen all over the world, specifically the Middle East. And there's a lot of action that has been taken. So since the strikes have been conducted, we're now starting to take attacks all over the Middle East. And our U.S. consulate in Pakistan was under attack. Marine security guard actually had to put rounds down range. So far, reportedly 3 protesters have been killed. Multiple folks have been injured. These seem to be very amateur protesters, like they didn't know what the F they were doing, sticks and rocks and all the other type of stuff. But I fear that we get more of these groups that are more, they know what they're doing more. Hamas, which is very, very just a shell of themselves since October of 2023. Is that when they attacked Israel? Or the Houthis or Hezbollah. They are all proxy groups that in the past were funded by Iran. The thing is I don't think it's just so automatic that these groups just say, Iran is under attack, let us activate, because these all operate as like mini militias, like mini organizations, is that their best interest is still more important than Iran. So I don't know if we 100% are going to see Houthis attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz, or Hamas making random attacks in Israel on behalf of Iran, or anything like that. I don't know if that's just an automatic thing. This also includes that if there are any like people that are loyal or sympathetic to the Iranian regime here in the United States, they still have to think about themselves. I just don't believe it's automatically folks that are just going to be activated because of the supreme leader being taken out. But I do think that we're in for at least a few weeks long fight. As I mentioned before, I stand by my prediction. I think that this is going to go 7 days to maybe upwards of a little bit over a month. I think that We're going to take out somebody important, like I said, when we took out the supreme leader, and we're going to declare victory. Now, I don't think we will declare victory until it looks like the regime is changing. So they've already elected, or they've already appointed a new interim supreme leader. That guy probably woke up eating his Wheaties today and didn't realize that he needed to start writing his will, because it's probably not the best position to be in. But if it looks like the military is taking over Iran, if it looks like the crown prince that left there decades ago might take over Iran, I think we would just declare victory and leave. Could that be sustained without boots on the ground? No. But could it look like we have a victory? Yes. We could do that. That's why I don't think that this is a prolonged thing. But the thing is that Iran is racking up enemies all over the Middle East, taking out civilian targets in the United Arab Emirates and Dubai. Why? Taking out a French naval operating site in Dubai. Why? Now you got the French on your case. You have the Emiratis on your case. Saudi Arabia is ready to freaking go full throttle if they see any more missiles launched their way. The only place that doesn't seem to be getting the smoke is Oman. Other places as well still getting the smoke too. Okay, Bahrain in the fifth fleet rather. We also have Kuwait and Jordan as well. What do all those countries have in common that I just mentioned? So I just said what? Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Dubai. They all have the same thing in common. During the global war on terrorism, they supported the United States. That's why I don't reflexively have like Islamic phobia like a lot of folks do, because those countries let us use their air bases. They help facilitate our transition into Afghanistan, into Iraq. And so they are more of an ally than people think that they are. And Iran sees that. They see that they're an ally. We have bases all over their countries. One of the countries that did not help, Oman. Qatar also helped. That's why they're also getting attacked as well. And so Oman didn't help, and Israel didn't let us facilitate our transfer into Afghanistan. They gave us intel, but go take a look. Did Israel fight on the ground with us in a sustained way, like our NATO partners, or help let us use their bases like some of the Muslim countries in the area did? No. They gave us intel. They maybe gave us some type of operational support. But that is why those countries are being attacked in such a way. They've always been viewed as allies with the United States, and they are true allies with the United States when they're letting us use their land to help us get into a war that we get into a country that we were at war with. So now they're getting the smoke. But now Iran is just racking up enemies with Persians and Arabs all over the place. And I don't think it ends well for them. I think that because Iran clearly sees that the thing is that the president set out an objective. When the president did his 8-minute speech the other day, he named clear objectives. And if he does not do those, he literally has failed. So he named that he wants to degrade their air defenses. He wants to degrade their navy. He wants to take out the supreme leader and maybe leadership. And he wants to ensure that they don't have the ability to make a nuclear program. When those type of words come out of any president's mouth, they become military objectives. So if we don't do them, it looks like we failed. If the only thing came out of the president's mouth, like we want to take out their navy, and then we sank a cruiser or whatever their equivalent to a cruiser is, and we blow up their ports, then we met the objective. So Iran has to hear the objectives that the president laid out the other day, and this is their last stand. They're going to unload the clip, metaphorically speaking and literally, until they're no longer there. We have lower ranking officers, a part of the IRGC and a part of the military, who are fleeing. They're going to the Afghanistan border. They're trying to get up out of there. There's been video evidence of that. The higher ranking folks, the president seems to be standing 10 toes down. The new supreme leader seems to be standing 10 toes down. We have a lot of folks who just don't give an F, who are going to continue to unload the clip. They just tried to fire ballistic missiles at the USS Abraham Lincoln. I think those were thwarted, but more of those type of attacks are expected to come as well. There's been a lot of bodies and people that have been lost in parts of Israel. We've lost service members, which is the thing I think sucks by far the most. So Iran has named Al-Razi Afari as the interim supreme leader following the death of the old supreme leader. He's a longtime insider in the hierarchy. The old Supreme Leader was in charge since like 1986 or something like that. I think since the year I was born. And the thing is that this guy's face not looking much better. CIA has all sorts of assets in the area. They know where these people are moving around at. I don't know how they know it. It's none of our business how they know it. They just know. Okay. And not only that, Israel has a lot of assets in the area as well. Israel, the IDF, puts out all sorts of maps that lets us know the type of strikes they're doing on Iran's command and control. These updates are kind of day by day, and they're trying to keep the public on their side. Because in Israel, I think that they are much on board with this fight with Iran than we Americans are. I think that we're still kind of confused with why we're doing it. But now that we're doing it, I think a lot of people would agree with me that I hope it's successful. Right? We've laid out these objectives. I don't know why we're doing it, but at the end of the day, I don't want our troops to fail. Now, could the politicians sell us better on it? Yes. But are men and women that are in the fight, do I want them to fail? No. I want them to complete whatever mission objectives are given to them, come home safely, and then let the politicians explain later why we did or did not do something. And it's not just as simple as launch missiles, go home. We've lost those service members. We also see massive crowds today gathering in different parts of Iran. Some of them are mourning the loss of the Supreme Leader. Some of them are celebrating it. But this is reminiscent to the fall of Saddam Hussein. We plucked him out of the country, and we saw people pulling down statues of him in Iraq. We saw people holding up American flags. We saw people burning photos of Saddam Hussein. And look how that regime change ended up. Look at Libya. Look at these places. It doesn't matter if it's a Republican or Democratic president, where if we go in there and we changing folks around, this shit is chaotic. And I know the stories of yesterday have fallen off the front pages. But my father-in-law lives in Venezuela. It is chaos down there. We took out the leadership. And we have this new president who is semi-loyal to Maduro, trying to appease Americans. Still, there's not enough resources for everyday people. People are still making only $20 a month, where us Americans are getting richer. Doesn't seem like any of that money's flowing back to Venezuelans. So regime change is just not something I'm in the business for. I'm much more of an American first type of guy. And if we have to use assets overseas, I would love when you explain why it has to happen. Because a lot of times we end up with the same old thing all over again. So the update today is not the best thing in the world. You know, I don't want to necessarily do the play-by-play, but I think that this is possibly, I hope that I'm right, okay? I hope that I'm right that this is a 7 to 6 week affair in Iran, and this is not the new beginning of a named event like GWAT. This is not a thing where it's just like, were you an IEF or were you an OEF? And if you're a vet, you know what those things mean. And you know, like, oh, I was in this part, or I have these specific badges or medals on my breast because I participated in this thing. I don't want that. I don't want another 20-year thing. But comment down below, what do you think about these updates? Do you think that this is something that we're going to be one and done with? Do you still think it's about that oil, baby? Do you think we just want to ensure that they don't have the ability to take out our greatest ally, Israel? Well, that's going to be something that I would love to know with your comments down below. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.